Asase wurani o. Wonim sɛ Ghana ha deɛ ɛba ne nsase ɛna afɛ agyapadeɛ ho nsɛm a adwumakuo baako pɛ ɛna abɛtumi de wɔrɛ ahyɛ wɔ mu. Ɛyɛ Silverline Reality and Investment Limited. Wɔn mo pɛ ɛna Ghanafoɔ nyinaa bɛtumi de wɔn nsa asi wɔ bo abɔ wɔ din. Yɛn nsase nyinaa yɛatetu sɛ ebum ɛde ama Ghana adehyeɛ. Yɛwɔ nsase no bi ɛwɔ Nsawam, Dodowa, Ɔyarefa, Ayimensa, Cantonment, Adenta, East Legon, Oyibi, Prampram, Airport Residential Area. Mekyerɛ sɛ Ghana mmea bebree. Silverline wɔ nsase wɔ hɔ a ebia nso asomdwe ɛwɔ ho. Yɛ head office no ɛwɔ Adenta. And I'll bet to me afraid one my trophy is 0505 504041. Silverline Uber Twasasi Wasumusubejo.
You're welcome to another episode of the Property Talk. And today we'll be doing more talking on lands. And when I say land, I know some of you are so excited because you want to know why some of the landowners and some of the estate developers are running away with your money and so many things that are going around your land issues. So here we'll be doing so much discussion, and we are privileged to have one of the CEOs of a land company here in Ghana, Silverline Reality and Investment Consort Limited. He's no other person than Mr. Joseph Boateng. Mr. Joseph Boateng, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
And the way you are looking, I think you are looking so good. I'm sure the business is really moving for you. That's why you're looking good like this.
It's tough, but
It's the way you are smiling alone tells me that everything is well.
it's not that well. It is well by God's grace, but nothing comes easy. It's tough, but once we have decided to do it, yeah,
It means you have to do it.
yeah, we shall be able to overcome all obstacles.
I like your spirit. I like your spirit. So, Mr. Boateng, in your statement, you just made mention of something tough, and because you have decided to do it. I want to hammer a little bit on the tough. The land business here in Ghana had faced so many problems over the years. And then we have seen, because of that, we have seen a rise and fall of so many land companies or reality estate development companies. You have seen some rise, you've seen some fall because of these problems and challenges. And that has also played a role in many people losing interest in buying lands. What's your take on it?
Well, land itself is a controversial commodity, not
Like that.
from recent, but from the days of Adam. You understand?
Okay.
Even the ancient days where kings were fighting, kingdoms were fighting against kingdoms, it wasn't for anything. It wasn't for women. It was because of territories, and it sums up to lands. So land has become a very controversial commodity that needs care, intelligence, and understanding to be able to manage them well. Our industry is one of the most, if not the most, one of the most controversial business or industry that we find ourselves, especially when it comes to the sale of lands. For buildings, before the building is put up, you are able to resolve all issues and all that. But when it comes to lands, it's a different ball game altogether. You understand? Irrespective of all these controversies and all that, we have accepted to do it. So I think the best we can do is to make sure that we abide by the rules and regulations, covenant conditions, and the laws that are governing the lands. We abide by it, all right, so that those that we are leading or those that we are representing, we buy, we transfer to them. They can also enjoy their rights peacefully. Yeah. So basically, that's what I can say.
You made mention of management. So should we say that the reason why we are having so many problems surrounding our land businesses in Ghana is because of proper management? And if that's the case, from which side? Is it from the owner side or from the buyer side? Or from the people we call our frontliners, which is the real estate companies? Is it from their side too?
Well, it cuts across, all right. The grantors, which are the allodia owners, and even some of the beneficial owners, whether you are selling or you are buying, you have responsibility, all right. If one side is not able to do things well, things may go bad.
Okay.
Yeah. So with the controversies and issues surrounding land management, I wouldn't say the problems are coming from the lands, because the land itself is no respecter of persons. If you're a young boy, if you are 10 years old and you know your rights and responsibilities and you manage them well, you can be able to enjoy peaceful occupancy of lands. If you're a chief or a senior, no matter your age, a senior citizen or an elderly, and you don't know how to manage lands, or you are not responsible enough to manage properties well, you can't have peace.
Okay.
Yes, so I would say it's not about the land itself, but it's about the people that manage the land, both the buyers and the sellers. It comes from either ways.
So it's not the people, but it's how they manage the property.
It's
not
about the
land,
people and
it's about
the way they manage the land.
the way they manage the land. So then we can conclude that the reason why we're having this problem is because of poor management from both the landowners or the grantors, just as you said. Okay. So, Mr. Barton, tell us, are there any laws or rules binding you as a frontliner and then the grantors as in the landowners? Are there any laws or rules binding you that probably prevent any of you from violating the laws, or that prevents any of you from going off your agreement?
Yes, definitely. Uh, I think the new Land Act that was released between October and December 2020 came to complement the one we already had. All right. It didn't come to change the laws, but it came to complement, to strengthen the laws. Where we had a whole lot of charlatans in the system that were making the work very difficult, in a sense that even government has to involve or release a whole lot of resources to be able to deal with land issues. When you go to every court in Ghana, whether district, magistrate, high court, or whatever, when you go to every level of the police administration, issues that they have there, major or the majority part of the issues they handle each day are about lands.
That's the problem.
Thousands of cases. Some of them you can't even finish. The parties will just die, and you just have to break. You see.
That's the problem.
So there are legalities. There are covenant conditions. There are laws that govern land transactions. And either party, either you are a buyer or a seller, you need to abide by these laws. And I will limit myself to the sellers, because if your rights are true and you abide by your rights, all right, and you're able to sell peacefully, I don't think the buyer would have problem. All right. The basic rights that as a seller you need to look at, and then you don't go overboard. You don't abuse these rights. You have to work within these rights. The major ones are four, which is the right of possession, right of enjoyment, right of control, and the right of transfer. These are the four basic rights that govern land transaction. The law says if you don't have, you can't give. That's where the right of possession comes in. All right, the right of control, the right of transfer, or the lease and license for you to be able to transfer to another person. All right, and then the right of peaceful enjoyment or peaceful occupancy. All right, if you have all these rights, I think The rest is just about being honest to yourself. If you've been able to transfer to another person, you don't give to you don't transfer land to, or you don't sell or transfer the right to one or more to two or more people. Once you know this portion has been given to Kwekumo, you have to make sure that you abide by it. You don't give to another person, and before you give, you make sure that it has already not been given to anybody, or you've not used it as collateral for anything. You've not exchanged such or the said property for any other service or any other property. You understand? Yes. So basically, if we are able to abide by these conditions, I think most of our land litigations or issues surrounding lands will be limited.
Right. So here, as you heard the man himself, I'm sure you are just hearing this for the first time, just like I am. The four major rights that is governing or that binds the grantor, the landowner, the realty developer, and then probably the seller or whoever is involved in these things. I know you can't wait to hear more about this. But before we ask Mr. Boateng to tell us more about these things, we'll go for a quick commercial break. And when we are back, will tell me more about this.
Asase wurani o. Wonim sɛ Ghana ha deɛ ɛba ne nsase ɛna afɛ Japade ho nsɛm a adwumakuo baako pɛ ɛna abɛtumi de wɔrɛ ahyɛ wɔ mu. Ɛyɛ Silverline Realty and Investment Limited. Wɔn mo pɛ ɛna Ghana fo nyinaa bɛtumi de wɔn nsa si wɔ bo abɔ wɔ din. Yɛn nsase nyinaa yɛatetu sɛ ebum bum ɛde ama Ghana de hyeɛ. Yɛwɔ nsase ne bi ɛwɔ nsawam. Dodowa, Ɔyarefa, Ayimensa, Cantonment, Adenta, East Legon, Oyibi, Pram, Airport Residential Area. Mekyerɛ sɛ Ghana mmea bebree. Silverline wɔ nsase wɔ hɔ a ebia nso asomdwe ɛwɔ ho. Your head office no ewa Adenta, and I'll bet to me and Frey Wahumatro for you so 0505 504041 Silverline Uber Twasasi Wasumu Bejo.
Welcome for the quick commercial break. Just like Mr. Boateng was saying, there are four rights, and I want to just refresh you a bit of the four rights. He made mention of rights number one, the right of possession; number two, the right of control; number three, the right to transfer; number four, the right to enjoy. So, Mr. Boateng, tell us briefly, what do you say? Tell us a little bit about the right of possession, the right of control, the right of transfer, and the right to enjoy. Briefly.
Well, the right of possession, that's anybody that I would say right of possession is when you have binded and executed documents.
Okay.
All right, executed document. Indenture, whether you have registered indenture or not, once it has been executed and your grantor or whoever sold the property to you has the right to transfer to you, immediately you get hold of such a document, you have the right to possess.
Right.
So the possession doesn't go beyond transfer.
Okay.
I believe you understand. Yeah.
So that the moment you have the indenture,
once you get your indenture, the indenture is executed, whether registered or not, or whether transferred into your name or not. You have to consider the fact that whoever sold to you has the right to transfer to you. Once your grantor has the right to transfer to you, and you have gotten your transfer document, whether you have registered it or not, you have the right to possess, because you are enjoying part of your grantor's right, which is the right to transfer.
Okay, so Mr. Boateng, talking about the right of possession, this possession you're talking about, does it mean the moment I have the indenture, I have the right to access the land? I mean, to go to the land and start something? Is that what you're saying? The right to possess?
Not the indenture alone, it has to come with a side plan. Okay. The indenture is basically the agreement, the terms, all right? And the side plan or the allocation document is the document that describes the land or that specifies the property that the indenture is talking about.
Okay.
All right. So an indenture without a side plan, we can't say it's a land document. It's just an agreement.
An indenture without a site plan, you can't say it's a land document, it's just an agreement. All right, Mr. Martin, tell us more also about the right to control.
Well, the right to control, I think, before you can be able to control, have the right to control lands, I think my submissions are based on experiences and what we learn
Okay.
day in and day out. All right. Uh, Once you get your site plan and indenture, the law requires that you register your interest so that you can be able to enjoy the three other rights.
Okay. Okay.
Which is the right to transfer, the right to control, and the right to enjoy peaceful occupancy.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
With that registration, you are limited to, or you may be limited to, only one right, which is right of possession.
Okay.
Unless, of course, there are interruptions from another party who is having a superior document than what you have.
Okay.
But immediately you transfer, you get your interest registered legally,
Okay.
then you can be able to enjoy the three other rights, which is the right of transfer, the right to enjoy, and the right to control. All right. And the control basically would say depends on the conditions that you have. If your document is leased, there are lease conditions that every beneficial owner must abide by.
Okay.
You know, once a document is leased, you know you don't owe it perpetually. They come with some terms.
That's
All
it.
right. Yes. So whilst you are enjoying peacefully the term, there are some conditions that you must also adhere to, where the law requires you to do. So basically, the process of controlling, the process of enjoying the land and making sure that the conditions or the covenants stated clearly in the lease,
Okay.
all right, is being abided by. That's what we call you are controlling, because if I shouldn't exaggerate, all right, control is basically the management.
Okay. Having control, having
Exactly.
dominion over something.
Exactly, just the management of the lands. Yeah, in simple terms, that's what I would say.
Okay. So, Mr. Barton, what you are trying to tell us is that the moment you have the right of possession, you are you are entitled to enjoy the other rights, which is the right of control, the right of transfer, and the right to enjoy.
It's not
It
you
is
are
automatic.
entitled, you may,
You may be
depending exactly, depending on the rights that your grantor
have.
possess. You
Okay.
understand?
So, Mr. Barton, that takes me to my next question. I will come to the rights that we must, or what we must do to be able to own the land. But you made mention in your statement that in case somebody pops up with a higher documentation than the grantor, that's the problem we have currently in Ghana here, where somebody sells a land to you and then somebody else comes up with a probably higher document than yours. I think it's quite troubling for some of the buyers out there. What do you have to say about it?
Yes, I think basically the law requires, that's what I'm saying, the law requires every beneficial owner to register his or her interest.
Okay.
If you get a site plan and indenture, it doesn't end there.
Okay.
You understand? You need to register your interest today. In the land registry, the highest document you can have is the title certificate.
Okay.
Formerly, we used to have the registered indenture, which or the deed, the registered indenture. Now, I think from 2005 2006, which the land registry was incorporated, and the certificate became the ultimate document that you should have. So if you have any document that is lesser than the certificate, then you should bear in mind that if anybody pops up to have a certificate, the person's right is above or supersedes what you have. You understand?
Yeah.
The only document that supersedes the certificate is the court, which is the judgment. All right. Apart from the judgment, the certificate is the superior document that you can have on land.
Okay, so Mr. Boyd, there are instances where you have the document, you know your grantor has a title over the documentation, over the land, yet you see other people pop up with other titles concerning that. No, I think that has really been a problem in our generation now. And I think what we have to do is maybe one of these days we meet you and one of the technical men also on the field and we see how best we can. But Mr. White, I want you to take us gradually, lead us to understand the steps or the things to consider in the attempt to purchase a land. If somebody wants to buy a land, somebody wants to buy something from you, tell us the steps they must take. Maybe the person is not buying from you, but buying elsewhere. I think your viewers they want to hear. What are some of the steps we must take as buyers?
Well, there are so many factors to consider.
Okay.
It is limited to the purpose of why you are buying the land. You understand? So you go further, or you can get more or less depending on what you are using the land for.
Okay.
But the basic thing is about the ownership.
Okay.
All right. So what normally we do is that when we have any interested person who wants to acquire any portion of our land, the first thing that we need to do is that we let the person see the land that he is willing to acquire, because you may have heard or seen in advertisement and all that, you don't know the physical condition of the land, and you cannot also negotiate or pay for anything you have not seen. So the first thing is that we encourage them, which is mandatory, but we don't allow anybody to make payment when he or she hasn't seen the land. Yeah, so it is mandatory, which is the first step for you to see the property where it is located. All right. Apart from that, the next is the confirmation of ownership. Once you see the property and you are interested, then that means you've moved from one step to another. Now you like the property. How are you going to be sure, or whether the property we are selling to you, we have the right to transfer to you? So you need to proceed to the land registry for land search, to conduct a consolidated land search to be sure of what we have or the record that the commission is having. Then you can also take your next step. So once you conduct your search, you are sure that whoever is selling the property to you has the right to sell. Then you know you are also on another step. You've completed another step.
Right.
The search doesn't lie there. You come back to even the purpose why you are buying the land. There are some places the owner may have the right to transfer to you, but in terms of developing the land, you the beneficial owner may not get the right to develop the property or the kind of to do the kind of development you want to do.
Sure.
So you need to proceed to the development authorities, which is assemblies, to confirm whether the land they are selling to you, one, it is not in a proposed road, it is not in a proposed government acquisition. There are some properties where government is willing to acquire, or government has acquired, but they are not registered. You understand? The assemblies will be able to tell you that yes, this property, government is in the process of acquiring such a property for so and so purpose. So you can't buy this property.
Okay.
Or yes, you are free to buy, but you can't use it for church, or you can't use it for a factory.
Okay.
Meaning such places has been mapped as purely residential areas.
Okay.
You can't use it for what do you call it, social or any industrial purpose. That is the next step. Once you confirm this, then I think I think the probability of you being able to enjoy the property as compared to how you want to use the property for, I think you've achieved that. Once you've seen the property, you like it, you have conducted the search and you are sure that whoever is selling to you has the right to sell. And then also the purpose why you are buying the property. The authorities has confirmed, and you are sure that when you buy, you can be able to develop the property. I think that is the main factors where you need to consider.
I'm sure many of you had made so many errors, not being able to inquire from the municipal assemblies whether what you are planning to do is suitable for that particular area or not. And just like Mr. Barton is saying, you must make an attempt to go to this place so you'll be able to know whether where you are building your house, where you're doing your church, or where you're doing your factory is a suitable place, or it has been mapped in the government, whatever, if it's okay for you to go on and do that. So, Bwati, thank you so much for having time with us today. But before you go, I want you to please tell the people watching, tell them if somebody is watching you right now and then he wants to say, he wants to hear from you. In conclusion, what can you do as a developer to end this confusion going on around us between the buyers and the developers? What can you do from your side, from your company?
Well, I think we've been educating people for quite a long time. Personally, if I get the opportunity to meet people who are willing to acquire property, the little time I get, I try to advise or I try to advise them on the procedures even after the purchase, the management. All right, yes, and I would also advise my colleagues who are in the same business, real estate developers, land sellers, the chiefs and family heads who are controlling the affairs of land, who are controlling the environment or the situation. We need to be honest to ourselves. The law says if you don't have, you can't give. Basically, that's how it is. Apart from that, every other decision or every other condition would have to be individual choices and decisions. All right. Once we all agree to do the right thing, I think most of the issues we are having as far as lands are concerned will be dealt with.
Okay, so Mr. Butt, before we go, a question just came up from some of our viewers. They would want to know if your company helps people in doing this searches, as in conducting searches for this lands they have acquired, and if your company also helps people to manage their properties.
Yeah, we do. Our slogan is everything property, right from the pre-purchase condition, pre-purchase stages, during the purchase and the post-purchase stages. We give advisory services. We do construction, general construction, architectural design. We sell lands.
Okay.
We also do land documentations.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're having problem with your land, if you may have peaceful occupancy, but you may not be able to transfer. All right. If you have such problem, we can be able to assist you, advise you on the type of document that you need to have. All right. We do property management as well. Yeah. So we will entreat everybody to knock on our door, whatever problem that you are having, whether you are buying from us or not. We will be ready to assist you.
So you heard the man himself, Mr. Boatin himself, the CEO of Silverline Reality and Investment Consult Limited. Like he said, they are always ready to have you, being it you want to acquire land or you wanting to acquire a property. They're always ready. Their doors are always open for you. Wherever you are, whatever you do, whoever you are, they are ready to welcome you with open arms and to serve you.
asase wurani o wonim sɛ Ghana ha deɛ ɛba ne nsase ɛna afɛ agyapadeɛ ho nsɛm a adwumakuo baako pɛ ɛna abɛtumi de wɔrɛ ahyɛ wɔ mu ɛyɛ Silverline Reality and Investment Limited wɔn mo pɛ ɛna ghanafoɔ nyinaa bɛtumi de wɔn nsa asi wɔ bo abɔ wɔ din yɛn nsaase nyinaa yɛatetu sɛ ebumbum ɛde ama ghana de hyeɛ yɛwɔ nsaase no bi ɛwɔ nsawam dodowa ɔyɛrefa ayimansa cantonment adenta east legon oyibi prampram airport residential area mekyerɛ sɛ ghana mmea bebree Silverline wɔ nsaase wɔ hɔ a ebia nso asomdwe ɛwɔ ho yɛ head office no ɛwɔ adenta ana wobɛtumi afrɛ wɔ ahomatorofo yi so 0505 504041 Silverline wobɛtɔ asase wasom so bɛdwo.